Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. So limits are very fundamental in calculus, and you will use limits to evaluate functions at a given value and see if it exists. And limits are important because limits are used to define the continuity of a function, limits are used to express the derivatives, and limits are also used to evaluate integrals. Now, a classic example on how limits are used in physics are when you want to find the speed that an object is moving. And as we remember, if we want to represent speed algebraically, then we want to see the velocity is just a change in position over a change in time. But this is also known as the average speed. So what happens when we want to find the instantaneous speed, that is the speed at a particular time? So we can represent this via calculus. So it would be the velocity is also expressed as dx over dt, but this is just a limit, and that is expressed as the limit as t goes to 0 of your function f of t minus that function when time is 0 over t minus 0. So this is what the limit, the instantaneous rate of change would be for the speed would be if you was to evaluate the limit. So limits are going to be very important, and this is a trick, or there was some trouble that I had when I first started learning limits. And today I'm just basically going to give you the different methods on how you can evaluate limits. And we'll go over some practice problems, and that way we can actually solidify our understanding of limits. So there are some steps that you want to actually look at when you want to evaluate limits. The first thing you can do is test a limit by putting in the value. This is also known as direct substitution. You can also factor the equation, see what cancels out, then go back and do a direct substitution of whatever value you want to look at that limit. You can multiply if you have multiple polynomials in a fraction. You can do factoring again, or you can multiply by the conjugate. You can also find the limits of infinity. That's as a particular value is approaching infinity. One thing to note about that, if you get 0, you can't do that, so you know that it doesn't evaluate or it does not exist. And we'll go over a formal method. So these are just the different methods for evaluating limits. And let's get started by going over a few problems.